ex-husband be a total success than some total loser. Because I'd be like, why did you marry that loser? What are you, a loser? And the women might want to look at that in the same way. Like if your husband has an ex who becomes like a superstar, don't get angry or competitive about it. Just look at it and go, wow, and realize he's still with you. He's chosen you. Well, there's been this kind of issue where with Jen, she never really felt he had let go of her. And I'll tell you the saddest thing about it is he really did. I mean, the honest truth is he did let go of her, and he did give himself to her. But it was like there was a disbelief. I don't think so. On this day, now she knows, he's also very honest. I'm going over to pick up the kids. He's not hiding this thing going over there. He tells her, and every time he goes, she never goes. And it's upsetting for her. She's at home like, great, my husband, the man I love, the man I had a kid with, is now driving over to his ex-wife's home. She's not happy about it. Well, here's what happens. So he drives back into his home. Now, his home, by the way, it's in a very nice part of Washington, D.C. It's nothing like the estate of her home. This is like a beautiful family home. It is not a typical suburban home. It's a home that a star quarterback might have, and it is gorgeous. Really high ceilings, very modern. It's not this Thomas Jefferson colonial thing that his ex-wife got. This is more almost like a California design. That's what's kind of nice about it. It's almost, for him, it's like having a little taste of California on the East Coast. A lot of beautiful trees in Washington because it's lush there. So you get all these big green trees and everything. They drive in. They've got a long grass area that could easily be a football field, and you can tell it's quite well used by he and his kids. It's even got like the line markers, so you've got like, you can do 4th and 4 on the 25-yard line. Here we go. And it has a goalpost, and so it's really quite a nice, most people have like maybe a tennis court or a swimming pool. Well, guess what? They had a swimming pool, but they also had a football field, no tennis court. So here's what happens, though. As he's driving in, he needs to prepare himself because he knows not to show to Jen all these tears. So what he does is he takes his glasses off and he's rubbing his eyes like this, and he's doing that on the driveway in, and he's expecting to see her inside. Well, as luck or unluck would have it, she actually is driving on the way out. She's got this nice little Mercedes she likes to drive. She does not drive a Ford. She told him, you like Ford, I like Mercedes. So she got a cute little Mercedes, whatever. And that's kind of what he said, whatever you want, dear. So she's on the way out, and she just, all of a sudden, it's one of these things like when you're doing something and you just look up, and there she is. And she looks at him, and she knows he was just there getting the kids with his ex-wife, and there they all are. And he and his lovely daughter, they just look so guilty, like, caught red-eyed. We say caught red-handed. I'm going to say caught red-eyed. And caught crying. And it was like a moment of truth for the two of them, where this was her interpretation of it, which is totally wrong, by the way. She just got off on this, And that's one of the problems that can ruin a marriage, is someone can just misinterpret something. He is over her, and he doesn't want to go back to her, and he will always stay with his new wife. That's the truth of it. But it's like the new wife doesn't really get that. This is part of the dynamics of marriage nowadays. It's not just man, woman. It's that simple, right? Well, no, because we all, not all of us, but there's something called an X, and then you've got child custody and visits and going back and forth. This is how it goes, right? So she just went off and just screamed out, "You still love her. I know it." And then she just flew by. She just punched it. And their driveway has enough for 2 cars, but you can't back up and turn around. And he just kind of sat there. And his daughter was going, gee, Dad, maybe you ought to go after her. But you know what? She was like tearing out. There was no going after. She was like, it was like this issue was so millimeter thin deep in her skin that the minute it was confirmed as a truth, she's a quick believer because she'd been believing this. And you know what? It's a tragedy because she got it all wrong. And here's a beautiful woman married to a great guy, and they got a great house and great family, great everything. And over a misinterpretation, she's going to bust it all up. Unless Mike Hanley, tight end for the Washington Redskins, now known as Red Wings, is going to come in to rescue the day and become the quarterback therapist again for the second time. The first time he failed. Let's see if this time he will succeed in saving the quarterback's second marriage to a beautiful, wonderful woman who unfortunately, through misinterpretation, is about to end it unless the quarterback can save it. So the next day was a Sunday, and guess what? It's game day. And I'll tell you the interesting thing about that. However mad a husband and wife may get, sometimes you work in a deal where you're going to see the guy the next day, so you can't exactly ignore him. Well, it was such a terrible hit on Jen about this crying eye thing that she did not come home that night. She was perfectly safe. She stayed over at one of her cheerleader friends. So, these girls look out for each other. She's not the first one to suffer some kind of relationship problem. When you're married to a guy in the NFL, that's how it goes. It's like being married to a rock star. It's a good argument in favor of not doing that and just getting like a regular guy, but this is how things go. So she went over to her friend Kimberly. Kimberly's a wonderful girl. She's a Cuban cheerleader. They have kind of like all kinds of people that love to do this cheer stuff. What you need is like a gazelle-like body. It doesn't matter where it's from, but you do need that. It's got to be kind of like a one unified piece of muscle that can jump, flip, turn, do all kinds of things. Pretty face, always smiling, I don't know how these girls do it, but anyway, she went over there and stayed there. But so the next day is game day. Well, Kimberly drove Jen, to the game. I mean, she's not going there to watch the game. She's working there. And, as a cheerleader, you can't just say, I'm not going to go because I'm having, a fight with my husband. You got to go. It's like your job. If you don't go, they'll probably fire you. So she's there, and there's like 40,000 people there. And we've got Mike, who's looking good in uniform. He's a funny guy, by the way. He's sort of a team leader of sorts. Normally the quarterback is the team leader. In this exceptional case, everyone knew that Mike was like the leader of the quarterback. So it's kind of like the quarterback is the leader. That's Derek. But it's kind of like if the leader has a leader, then that's your leader kind of thing. So he's hanging out with the guys, most of whom were quite a bit larger than him, having fun. And then out of the corner of his eyes, he notices, oh, what's that? And he sees his good buddy Derek trying to get the attention of his lovely wife. And you know what? She won't do it. And he can tell it's getting kind of weird because he's like not letting it go. He would be used to him saying, hey, honey, hello, and if she can't, focus on him, walking away. But he wasn't walking away. So Mike excused himself from the they were on by the bench, and the referees are coming out, and they're measuring off the field. They're doing some last minute, they kind of check the entire field before a game starts. You don't want any like Coke bottles out there or anything that could potentially even injure a player. I mean, we don't want anyone losing their career over a Coke bottle or a piece of garbage that someone threw out there. So they clean it meticulously. Both sides have a good clean bench area, which it can be quite large, and that's where all the cheerleaders are right kind of in front of. And Mike is needing to get Derek to the field, like, hey guys, we're starting up here pretty quick. The scoreboard is up there all nice. It says 0-0. This is where the game starts. They're about to do a first quarter. It says the game clock says 15:00, and Derek is having a problem. So Mike goes over and says, God, hey, what are you doing? Let's go. Derek kind of shocked the crowd by just pushing Mike away, almost like he was going to fight him. And these are like brothers, and everyone's like, whoa, what's going on? So Mike, who is kind of like a brother and not going to take any crap from Derek, he just grabs him and says, we're going, and just physically grabbed him and starts yanking him away. Jen sees it and looks at the crowd, and she can tell she's making a scene. And it's kind of like Derek ain't going until Jen comes over. So she finally capitulates, which is something, if all people would do this, just do a little compromise. Wow, so many big problems could be solved. Well, thankfully, she comes down, and she smiles to Mike. Mike is looking incredulously like, what's up? What the hell did you do? And he knows there's some big crime here, but he doesn't know what it is. And she comes down, hi, Mike. And he's like, hi. Look, Derek, go start the game. We'll talk later. Okay. And she gives him like this really fake smile, like, just deal with it. Derek, I guess he just had to hear something, because that was enough to get him to walk away. Thank God for that. Jeez, the game's about to start. He's walking away with Mike, and as he's walking away, Mike looks up, and Derek is crying again. And it's kind of a little bit of this, like my last year in the NFL, it's a little bit of midlife crisis. It's a little bit of estrogen in him. It's a little bit of a lot of stuff, I guess, whatever. But he's crying once again. And Mike isn't used to this kind of thing, I mean, he's not used to the man crying. This is new territory for them. They have had many kind of deep discussions, but there haven't been any crybaby discussions. Unlike the strategy that his daughter had, which is let him just cry through it. They got to start a game here, and you can't just cry through the game. I mean, come on. So Mike can't even really get him over. You can't have the team leader come over to the bench area and be in tears. Everyone will look at the guy and go, what the hell? You're our fearless leader. You can't be crying. So Mike has to fix this real fast. So he's looking, and the cheerleading squad, they start doing their cheers, okay? They don't wait until the team comes out there. They're already doing it. And the first cheer they give is a defense cheer. It's called push 'em back. And it goes push 'em back, way back. And they just start saying that. And as they say it, they kind of go like this, whatever. The crowd starts to watch it. And Mike looks at Derek, and he says to him something that Derek will now remember, because Mike sensed it right away, that there must be a problem with the kids, and the kids being delivered over to the ex-wife, and that just happening too much. He kind of he's a smart guy, so he kind of got there, and he said, you need to push her back, way back, and you need to make her this girl is your wife now. You need to make her number one. And your ex-wife, and right as he's about to say it, the cheerleaders say it again. Push him back, way back. And it was this simple. He needed to make his current wife the mother of his child, who was kind of stepmother in a way to the other kids, although they didn't really see her like that, but that's kind of what she was. She's the one that was there every day taking care of all, okay? That's what she was. And she did a wonderful job of it all, and was endlessly, I guess, jealous or kind of a self-esteem problem about the first wife. She just couldn't get over it. So what he was being advised about was, you need to make her number one. Push her back. Push back your ex. Push her way back. Push her back. Instead of push him back, it's push her back. And make this current wife of yours number one, and make it very clear to her that she's number one. So what Derek says is, but she is number one.